everybody. This is a stimulus update. So, the last stimulus, it failed miserably. And for a while, it seemed like they'd just completely given up on it. And honestly, I think a lot of people have just kind of forgotten about the stimulus. But yesterday, a bipartisan group, a group of Democrats and Republicans, they got together. It's some kind of caucus. I can't remember what exactly so the Problem Solvers Caucus. That's what I'm trying to think of. It's called the Problem Solvers Caucus. It's a group of Democrats and Republicans and members of Congress who they got together and they came up with their own stimulus bill. They just kind of included the things that they could agree on. Okay, well, that's nice. And then they were going to present it, and Nancy Pelosi, Trump is like, okay, yeah, hey, I could think about this. He kind of signaled that he might be a little more willing. He even signaled that he might be more willing to accept a bigger stimulus proposal because he'd been kind of rejecting that, and not completely, but kind of rejecting it in the past. Mitch McConnell, I think, is pretty well on board, not completely, but pretty well on board for it. But then Nancy Pelosi comes along. I tell you, that woman, she comes along and she just shuts it down. She said, no, we're going to make law. We're going to make law. Like, what the heck? Like, she needs to be in a nursing home. Like, what the heck? People are suffering. People need this money, and she's trying to go for the big boys. What is her goal here? But yeah, so what is her goal? Is she she just needs to almost it's just like is your goal to get elected or is your goal to help the American people? When you're a politician, that there's always the balance between those two things, and presumably they work together, but not always. And Nancy Pelosi, she is a brilliant politician, but a terrible person. At least that's my opinion of her. No, and I think most politicians are like that, but she's kind of like the worst of the worst. Very, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. But I don't know. I just think that it's horrible that she is blocking this. I wish they would vote her out. I wish they would just vote her out. I've been wishing that for years, long before this coronavirus stuff happened. We need some new blood. She's just too vicious, and the thing is, if you don't scratch her back, she will put you so far. She is Speaker of the House, she's the leader of the House, and if you don't scratch her back, she will put you so far at the back of the line that you can't even accomplish anything in Congress. And it's really, really divided. Because we have a two-party system. From the beginning, it was kind of destined for doom. Two-party systems work like that because the systems, the two parties will go further and further and further and further apart, and eventually they'll get so far apart that they can't drift back together. Is that going to result in some kind of huge changes to government? Could it result in revolution? I don't know. But political science, the study of political science, says that eventually it will have to change somehow. And I think Pelosi and McConnell is just as guilty here. In the time that they've been in office, really ever since, right around 2006, this system has just been going further and further and further apart. And the reason for that is they just keep driving more nails and wedges in between them. The leadership does, specifically. And, we have a group of Congress people who, almost all of them, are party line voters. There are no, what are known as rhinos, Republicans in name only. There are no... or very few, I should say. And there are on the Democratic side. There really aren't many either. We have a couple independents. I don't even know if we still have them, but and so when you know that everyone in your party is always going to vote on the party line, that's not always a good thing. Because number one, they are not answering to the American people if they are always voting on the party line. Hopefully, that party line is somewhat in line with what the American people want. But I don't know that that's necessarily the case with either party right now. And the thing is, now we have a system where the party controls, I think, what the people want, rather than the people controlling what the party wants. That's scary. That could lead to some very, very bad things. When you think back through history, that kind of is what happened. They used the fear of the people and just the fear. It's mostly fear. The fear of the people and sometimes stereotypes to label groups of people, other nations, other cultural groups. I mean, all kinds of things like that. All through history, that's happened. The leadership always found a way to use that fear. And then, especially in the 20th century, the party was what controlled, they used that fear to control what the people wanted and to gain more loyalty. So, I'm getting way off topic for the stimulus video, but I've got to say I'm a little worried. I hope Pelosi is eventually voted out, but she's from San Francisco, which is just like liberal, heaven. So I don't see that happening unless she were to suddenly die or resign or retire. I don't think she's going to retire ever. She likes that power, but I don't like her, and that's pretty interesting coming from someone like me who is pretty well in the center, slightly left leaning, but I just want to see some new leadership. I mean, from the White House to the Senate to the House, I just want to see all new. We need new. We have the oldest Congress ever. We just need something new. So I'll leave it at that. But I hope you have a great day. Bye.